with that, I'll move on to Part E compensation. Under Part E, first of all, Part E was passed in 2004. It replaced Part D, which was an attempt by the Department of Labor to assist, and the Department of Energy, to assist with workers' compensation claims. That effort was not terribly successful, and so the Department of Labor began to operate Part E, which amounts to federal workers' compensation that is available only at Department of Energy facilities. So at atomic weapons employer facilities, Part E is not available. But for those Department of Energy facilities where Part E is available, it's significant. There's $250,000 available, and medical benefits are quite significant. These are extraordinary medical benefits. They include, if you become sick enough, they include the right to have 24-hour nursing if that's necessary. So this is a very important benefit. The medical benefits can exceed the value of the compensation itself. The compensation, capped at $250,000, is obtained through an impairment rating. But before we get to that, an impairment rating or lost wages. But before we get to that, any illness or condition that is caused, contributed to, or aggravated by a worker's exposure to a hazardous substance, any hazardous or toxic substance at a Department of Energy facility, can give rise, does give rise, to Part E benefits. So it's necessary to prove that there was an occupational exposure, so an exposure at work to a hazardous or toxic substance that aggravated, contributed to, or caused the worker's illness or condition. That is how we establish compensation under Part E. And then once a condition is accepted, then it is necessary to obtain an impairment rating. Now this is a whole body impairment performed based on the rules established in the American Medical Association guide to whole body impairment. The impairment rating is based on activities of daily living. It's the AMA guide to whole body impairment, the 5th edition. The 6th edition is out, but this program has stuck to the 5th edition. The 5th edition, we believe, is better than the 6th edition. But in any event, just as an example, someone might be diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That person is on oxygen pretty regularly and can't really do too much, can't walk very far, struggles to get in and out of the car, to go to the store, to make a meal, to get ready for bed, those kind of things. That person can get an impairment rating in the 50% range. So for each percentage loss of use, the payment is $2,500. So 50% leads to $125,000 of compensation. The impairment, to the extent that the worker gets worse, the impairment can be performed once again after 2 years. The other aspect of Part E is lost wages. So for each year of lost wages, if a worker had to quit working because of his or her illness or condition, and didn't work at all during the year, let's say, for each year that the worker was not able to work because of his or her illness or condition, that worker receives $15,000. A partial year of lost wages can lead to $10,000. So the point is, it doesn't completely replace your wages. If you were making $100,000, you don't get $100,000. You get $15,000. So it's a little more like Social Security disability or something like that. But it can be significant because it goes back to when your illness was first diagnosed. So if your illness was first diagnosed when you were 55 and you are out of work until you're 65, that's 10 years of lost wages and $150,000 in compensation. Now, lost wages are only available up until the date of your Social Security retirement age. So for a long time, that was 65, was relatively simple. Now it's 67, and depending on when you were born. But the point is that you get lost wages up until your Social Security retirement age. And in order to prove lost wages, you have to show that your medical illness or condition caused your wage loss. And in order to do that, it's useful to get a letter from your doctor or from any doctor who's willing to look at your records and write a good letter.